Of the influences for my special guest this morning, Tim Lee. So, what kind of got you interested in Paul Simon? Was it because it's a bit before your time? You're in your 30s, I guess.
Yeah.
And Paul Simon was writing his most prolific stuff in the 1960s before you were born. So, how did you access that to begin with?
I think it was mostly through Graceland. I was about 5 or 6 when Graceland came out, and my dad had the tape in the car, and it was just. I loved the sort of, I wouldn't know the word like juxtaposition at the time when I was 5, but I loved the sort of, the really interesting lyrics with the upbeat music. And sort of in my 20s, I sort of started going backwards and listening to his earlier stuff. And I've always been more of a fan of his solo stuff, but I love Simon & Garfunkel as well. But yeah, every album that he's done is just brilliant. I don't think I could name a bad Paul Simon album, so it's definitely worth checking out.
Yes, well, I've got quite a few of them, but by the time they've been going for 30 or 40 years, you'd need a collection of 30 albums, because some of them have been quite prolific. Paul Simon less so. I suppose he's probably done 15 or something like that.
I think it's about that, yeah. So, I think another thing that really got me into him was when CDs came out, or when we first got a CD player, it was like the early 90s, and Rhythm of the Saints had just come out.
Oh, yes.
And to sort of go from tape to that, and to hear all the instruments, and it's just, it blew me away at the time. I remember it having a profound effect on me.
But it had a strong Brazilian influence at Rhythm of the Saints.
Yeah, it was South American, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I meant to play that when we had the Olympics, but I couldn't find, I think I lost the track or something, but I was really looking forward to playing the title track at least, if not some of the others.
Yeah, and there's Obvious Child, I think, was the big single off
that's
there.
The one, yes.
But Rhythm of the Saints, the title track is beautiful as well.
That's the drum one, isn't it, if I remember correctly? Quite a few of them have got heavy drums on them, haven't they?
And there's the guitar of, see if I can pronounce this correctly, it's Vincent Niguini.
Beautifully said.
Absolutely beautiful guitar player.
Anyway, back to Tim Lee.
Okay.
What's happening at the moment, Tim?
Well, I've made some notes, because this is the point at which I usually forget everything, but I've got here things I've done, things I've got coming up.
Okay.
So which one do you want to hear first?
Well, things you've done, things that are coming up either.
Well, we've talked a bit, haven't we, about I released my album on the 1st of August. I've done the food festival, the Big Day Out, Nantwich show. I did a great show at in Audlam. I think it was only last weekend actually, for sort of a fundraiser for Christie's. That was good fun. I played a show in Manchester at the place called the Wonder Inn, which is a fantastic sort of cafe place. And one of the big things over the summer that I've loved, my partner's dad gave me his record collection, so I've been getting to know lots of really good albums by like people like Neil Young, the Moody Blues, Roxy Music. So that's been a bit of an adventure for me.
Sounds like do you know what, you're going to become a presenter on Easy Like Sunday Morning. When I go away on holiday with that track list, I think you could step in.
Do you think?
Yeah, definitely.
What I've got coming up, I've put here, mow the lawn and do the ironing, so that's in the immediate future. And then
interesting track titles.
And then writing new songs, like the one you've just heard. I'm playing on Moorlands Radio on the 10th of October. I'm playing a Labour fundraiser at the Box on the 23rd of October, so if you can make it down for that. And just the little thing of getting married in December as well.
Yes, so I was going to ask you about the big day. Not too far away now then.
30th of December, I've got it etched in my mind, all the things I've got to do before then.
And who's taking the lead on that, yourself or Lucy?
Well, I think Lucy's definitely done up most of the hard work. I've sort of nodded my head a lot and tried to be as helpful as possible.
Terrific stuff. Now, I'm in danger here, because if ever you ask anybody about a TV programme, they don't always like the same as you.
Okay.
But I'm watching a rerun of Gavin and Stacey.
Oh, I love Gavin and Stacey.
And the episode I watched the other night was about them preparing for the wedding.
Right.
And going to a wedding fair.
I was in Cardiff recently for a couple of days, and I just kept thinking of Gavin Stacey all the way through it. There's fantastic South Wales accent. that you could hear.
Good stuff. At one stage in my life, for some odd reason, I was known as Uncle Bryn. Even though I don't have the accent. It's a long
compliment
story.
indeed.
It's a long story. Anyway, let's get back to the music. What are you going to play for us this time?
Have I got time for 2 more, do you think?
Yeah, I think we've
Just
got time.
about?
Yeah.
I think I'll play the one you were saying before, She's a Drug, which is quite an old tune, but I'll give it a whirl.
Terrific.